And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. It is Monday and it's time for some Premier League action. Just as we're going live, Chelsea are 1-0 down. So there are a lot of happy faces in the chat and on the podcast early doors. So very excited. Lots of Premier League to give you. As you know, Josh is a man of songs. I'm a man of limericks for my intro, and I couldn't let these two get away without a nice, lovely limerick intro. So, of course, I have Dan. Dan cares a lot about his team, Burnley, but there's questions about Vincent Kompany. Open at the back, struggling in attack. Get our Dan in for a sweet, hefty fee. Hello, Dan. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm not too bad. Like I say, £100 down today, but I'm all right. I'm still smiling.
That's a great start. £100 down. It can only go up. Surely, it can only go up.
Exactly. The thing is, exactly, mate. Maybe if I'd have put that money towards actually, getting some points, it shouldn't have been too bad. But no, all good. Thanks again for having me, and hope everyone's well in the chat as well.
Magic. And of course, it's not just me and Dan. Lucas is with us as well. So, of course, he has a limerick too. 6-0 at West Ham could not have gone better, even if Lucas had wrote a very sweet letter. A masterclass from Declan Rice, which was rather nice. Now just keep your head together, Arteta. Welcome to the show, Lucas. How you doing?
Easier said than done.
Exactly.
I'm good, mate. It's been a while, actually. But, yeah, glad to be back.
It has been a while. It has indeed, and we've got you on a very good week. You've picked an excellent fixture to come back in as well, which is going to be, I'm sure, a massive portion of the chat. But talking of the chat, there was lots of people in today, so I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Aled, welcome in the chat. Evening to you. Evening to Kieran in the chat. Evening to Spenny fan Chris as well. A lot of early chat already about the Palace game that just was apparently a worldie, scored an absolute worldie against Chelsea. So that's a fantastic start for them. What are we now, 35 minutes into that game? So 1-0 to Palace. We've got hello to Simon, hello to Jen, hello to Johnny. We've got our very own Charlotte is in the chat as well. Hello to you, Charlotte. And we have Anthony is here as well. So excellent. Do keep going. If you're listening to us on audio or on Twitter or anything, you can join us on YouTube and Twitch and keep coming with us at the chat. Tell us what you think and certain things we're going to be discussing, and keep us updated on what's going on as well in the latest scores. But a score that's in, and was an absolute smashing yesterday for Lucas's boys. West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. How does that make you feel, Lucas?
That was the best performance we've had. Definitely this season. I don't know how far back it goes, but yeah, we were unreal. That was really, really good to see. I mean, West Ham were taking the piss, but yeah, it was a solid performance. Like, I've got no complaints whatsoever. I thought it was brilliant. Attack, defense, Saliba and Gabriel both getting goals. We even missed, Saka missed a few chances. It could have been 9-0. So yeah, it was complete destruction. It was like a friendly or a training match. So brilliant, and I think we've responded really well after the losses to Fulham and West Ham the last time around before Christmas, and beating Forest or scraping through against Forest, beating Liverpool and then West Ham. So I think we're in a good position and we're pushing on. We just got to keep it up for the rest of the season. But yeah, what a game!
It was an absolute belter. As you say, West Ham last season was one of the sticky ones towards the end, and so lots of memories, I'm sure, from West Ham. But blew them away. They looked really leggy to me. United played them last week, and they looked leggy, and I thought they just looked so. They missed Paquetá as well in terms of creating anything, but you just ripped them to shreds, as you said. Trossard could have had a hat trick himself as well as Saka, and just absolutely blew and smashed them away. And what's the deal with Arsenal's and set pieces? What's your set piece coach on? Because you're
crazy, isn't it? We just look like we're going to score all the time. I think there's an element of something a little bit sneaky in that Ben White does push the goalkeeper slightly. If anyone didn't notice on the goal, but he gets in, it's a little shoulder bump to the goalkeeper, which is, it's not necessarily hindering him, but it's a little bit of a shock. So there's that. But I think the movement and stuff, and Gabriel in particular is really good in the air. We know that, but Saliba's starting to get in involved as well with the goals. But I think it's just we put it in such a dangerous position. The delivery from Declan Rice in particular on the corners now is really good. I think Martinelli was on corners before, and I think his delivery has been really poor. But Trossard, Declan Rice, Saka, these guys can take a really good corner, and they're just putting it direct in that danger area. And we've just got two massive centre backs just attacking it. So It's really good. It adds another element which helps you win games and makes you really dangerous. If you're the best team in the league at set piece goals, like it's another bonus. So yeah, I think we were just outstanding.
It is a massive threat, as you say. Set pieces, and when you're going to get those tight games, the set pieces will get you over the line as well. And it just shows, because without the set pieces, that would have been 3 or 4, but to make it a 6. I mean, I think I'm just checking, I've got the stats right here, but I mean, they're saying that I think, most goals from corners in the Premier League this season with 11. Last 3 of them headers from your centre backs. Gabriel's got the most goals for a defender since 2020-21 or so as well, and he's just had Saliba adding in as well. Such a massive threat. It's back to the old days of Sol Campbell and whatnot when you used to have that.
Big Tony Adams.
Big Tony, exactly. Absolutely smashing it through. And so where now? Because obviously you weren't on last week, so you missed the chance to have a chat with Josh about Liverpool versus Arsenal.
Such a shame.
Such a shame to miss that one. How do you feel now? Because you say probably your best performance this season off the back of a really big win against Liverpool the week before.
Yeah.
You in there? Because I mean, your goal difference is straight back up as well as points wise.
So tight now, isn't it? It's really like a three horse race for the title now. And I think I said it before, after the West Ham and Fulham was a blip, and it was a long time coming from how we were playing. We were getting over the line, but we were really, there are a few games we just weren't playing as well as we could be. So I said, I was like, if we go and lose to Liverpool, I was going to say the title race is done, because they'd be 8 points clear. And in the way this league is set up, 8 points is like people saying, it's just 2 wins. No, 8 points with City and Liverpool keeping with City is just, you're kind of out of it. Take into account that we've got to go to, I'll comment on that in a second, but we've got to go to we've got some tricky away fixtures coming up as well. But yeah, we're definitely in it. We're definitely back in it. We recovered well. Man City obviously leading the charge at the moment, which is the worst position to be in going into Feb. Because but they can slip up. It's just they're relentless, and I think the Everton game, I'm sure we'll get onto it, but like De Bruyne coming on just sums it up. He comes on, they score straight away, and it's like he's now back. The puzzle's basically completed. Just maybe John Stones getting there, but to keep pace, we just have to do what we do, and we've got to win those kind of games. West Ham's, Forest, Palace, got to win these. The real test is coming towards the end of the season, where I've got a bad feeling, because Sam's boys are going to be ready to spoil the party, as well as the Tottenham Hotspur. We've got to go White Hart Lane and Old Trafford, 2 of our last 5 games.
It's tough. I was just looking at your last 5: Wolves away, Tottenham away, United away, Bournemouth at home, Everton at home, and Everton might be scrapping for their lives on the final day as well.
It's not games you want to do. 3 of those games are the away ones. I mean, the way Wolves are playing at the moment, if they keep that up, you just got to hope they're like sort of just playing for nothing at that point. But that's not an easy game whatsoever. Wolves are pretty on it at the moment. And then White Hart Lane at Old Trafford. I really don't care how we're playing or how you guys are playing. If United have a chance to spoil us from winning a title, you're going to do everything. And again, White Hart Lane, we drew with Tottenham earlier on in the season at home. What makes us think that we're going to go there? It's a real test if we have to win those games to win the league. But on top of the fact that Liverpool and City are going to probably be right there unless they fall off massively. I mean, Liverpool's still there and Mo Salah's coming back. It's crazy. Considering how we've bounced back, I still put us as 3rd best team in the league right now, to be honest, which is annoying, but that's just the situation. So we just got to do what we can. We've got to just win these games. We've got to win them comfortably. And when it comes to, I think our first big test is, I'm not counting Newcastle at home at all. It's going to be going to the Etihad, which I think we're going in March. We got Chelsea. Oh, no, what am I talking about? Chelsea. That's not a big game anymore. The Etihad in March is the big one, which, if we lose that, then there's already a drop off anyway. So until then, I think we have to win every game up until then.
Yeah, it's a big run. So I think this will come onto in the chat in a minute. It was a comment on one of those games coming up. I'll just go to a few comments we've had in. So Jen says, such a good game to watch as a neutral. Yeah, Arsenal in such free-flowing form. And West Ham getting space to play. They're always fun to watch those ones. West Ham was shocking, but Arsenal were amazing. Spenny fan Chris says, even the West Ham fans were leaving at halftime. It was that bad. Kieran is gutted to bench Saliba in his FPL after. Of course, Kieran missed the Foden hat trick. He had Foden on the. Well, that's
back-to-back weeks. There are a lot of shocking FPL decisions across the board. I've seen some I've seen Captain Darwin, Captain Richarlison, Captain Foden. I was like, you don't go against the cyborg when he's back and fit, especially at home to Everton. You just don't do it. So, a lot of bad decisions going on. Gabriel on the bench, I've seen that as well.
Oh,
yeah. Saka being dropped, I've seen that.
That was bad. I got away with the Haaland one because I was waiting a week because I've got the transfer next week ready for him for the double game week, and I put Diaz in, and Diaz did just enough. So I lost a couple, but it was a bit sweaty after half an hour. Liverpool 0-0. I'm thinking, oh no, and Haaland's already kicking off. Disaster. Kieran says as well, Ben White, former Newport, of course. Kieran, yeah, our Newport fan, and this is the one I wanted to spot here because. We'll bring Dan in at this point because, of course, next game up is it's your boys. It's the Burnley boys against Arsenal. Are you worried about facing them after 6-0 demolition?
I'm glad they've got it out the way. Let's put it that way. It's nice to, at least I think it's difficult actually when they've just come off beating Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool had to keep up the title race by getting a result against us. And my mate who went down there said it just wasn't a 3-1 game at all. We, took the game to them. We had chances that we should have buried. But yeah, Arsenal at the turf this weekend coming. It's should be a spectacle. It's like Lucas said, there's tough games, but these are the sort of games where Arsenal fans start to question. Certain Arsenal fans will question Arteta and stuff like that because they'll come to Turf Moor and it'll be a tricky game. They'll either get a result or a point, and they'll be like, well, how have we dropped 2 points here? Like, how can we beat Liverpool? How can we do a demolition job on West Ham and yet take a point at Burnley, who literally can't find a point from anywhere? And I think that's when, I don't know whether that's something Lucas will agree with from the outside. So it just seems that's the Arsenal thing for me anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend's game because they've got that 6-0 out of them now. That's it. They can lie down, just sleep.
Off the gas.
Right. You won't be back to back. Yeah, there's no way a team's doing back to back like high scoring games like that.
No. Trust me, you're coming up against Burnley at the turf, and we've been shocking at home. So it'll be a good game. That's for sure. It'll be one of those where your manager will come out, instead of saying that the grass were too long and we didn't water the pitch this time, he'll probably come out and say that Burnley should be higher than where they are throughout the way they play. But it doesn't get you points when you get accolades. That's the only problem for me.
I guess the other thing as well is it next week your Champions League, Lucas? So whether he's got one eye on
so there is that element. Yeah, I forgot about that actually. Yeah, we are, and I think we're going away first.
Ooh. Who have you got again?
Porto.
Porto.
But there is that element, especially because it's away. He has going to have to think about rotation.
Yeah.
But he won't. So it will be the same 11. Let's be honest.
I was just doing a little happy foot dance under this table here and all that.
But there is an element, like a few. There might be a couple, like Jorginho might come in. There's a couple, and I think what worries about. I don't really think the only saving grace is Vincent Kompany is not. He's not one of these managers who's been in the relegation scrap or experience like your Sean Dyches, like back in the day, your Pardew's and things like that. Like, not to say these guys were good managers, but it's those kind of games that make you always fearful. When you get to this point in the season, you going away to some of those teams down near the bottom is dangerous. It is dangerous because there could be one day where it clicks with the fans and everyone's just on it and they manage to steal a point or get a win. So I'm always a bit fearful of, firstly, it's the teams at the top and it's the teams at the bottom around this point. I think it might be a little bit too early, but when you're going into March, those games are not easy at all, especially when you're going to that crowd and they're like, right, we have to get behind the team because every win is going to matter. Like 2-3 wins, we could be out of here and actually survive. So I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. No disrespect, but I think Burnley.
It won't be, Lucas, for the first half an hour. It won't be. It won't be for the first half an hour.
But you gave Liverpool, you gave Liverpool. You set up very well against Liverpool. I thought. I thought the game plan was pretty solid. It's just the quality. I think Burnley are really suffering from the quality of players that you have. Which is a similar thing with Luton. Although I think Luton are actually playing really, really good football at times. Burnley look like you're setting up to try and nullify teams, and you just don't have the defenders to keep them out for 90 minutes.
This is what I've said. We've we've come up, and obviously companies come in with this City mentality, play it out from the back and stuff. But I think sometimes you've got to remember we are just little old Burnley, small fry in a big pond. So it's difficult, but we've come up as well with the world sort of looking at us because Vincent Kompany and the season we had last season, where Luton have got that what we used to have that just slip under the radar. Everyone's written them off before they've kicked a ball. So I don't know. Maybe our arse has fallen out a little bit, and we've just. But I think the 3 signings we made in January have made a massive difference. We look a lot stronger. I mean, we had many a chance against Liverpool. If Fofana was on his, on the ball and was in free scoring form like he has been since coming in, to be fair, we could have easily got something out of that game. But again, it's all if, buts, and maybes, and that's not going to keep us up, is it?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say the last one. When we played you the first time around, we did struggle to break you down at first, but it's one of those ones where as soon as that goal goes in, it's kind of like it's done. So if you can frustrate us and nick a goal on a counter, there is a way to do it, because Arsenal, like West Ham, I don't know what they were doing, but even the way we are, there are ways to frustrate. And Nottingham Forest got really close. There are ways to really nullify our team. You just got to keep it up for 90 minutes is where it becomes very difficult. But we have a very set way of playing, and there are elements where if you keep Saka quiet and you double up on him and you press over the guard, you can kind of keep us away, because we haven't got a number 9, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that. It's really
our high line that worries me. Our high line. The one thing I have done this year is every time I put a bet on, obviously on Sky Bet, I've made sure it's 6 teams so that I can hack a freeze, and I've always put Burnley on open. That if they go in front in the first, and then I can just freeze that game. That's it. Burnley 18-1. Happy days. That's bulked the bet up, but they don't even get that. So screwed. Bet's done by 3:10.
Nightmare scenario. And I think, so going back to your point, Lucas, on they relegated, Southampton were your sticky one last year, weren't they? They were another one, weren't in any form whatsoever. Okay, it was a bit later on, wasn't it? But that was kind of like the last 5 or 6 games, if I remember. But still, it just... It can happen. So many times it happens, and it's banana skin. And it might help Burnley having played Liverpool this week, because they've had to kind of be up that intensity. They're kind of going straight off the bat. They're going into another high quality game, so they kind of know, about the
Champions League factor. Yeah,
Champions League factor.
That's going to be on the players and Arteta's mind. So I think there's now is the time to strike. To be honest, if you can nick a point, I hope you don't, but it's not.
I was going to say strike while the iron's hot, but if it's hot like last week, the iron was stone cold. So
yeah, it's not a given at all.
No, I suppose you've got a lot of players, Lucas, as well, that haven't played knockout Champions League. So for them, this is probably huge. Even people like Saka, I don't think, have played knockout. There's Champions League.
There's going to be a lot of pressure on that, because our European record on Arteta has been pretty poor considering the opposition we've played, and we had a favourable group, and now one of the favourable draws. Not to say that Porto are a top side, because they are, and I don't think that's going to be an easy game whatsoever, especially the way they play. There's going to be an element of the guys are going to be training and prep for that, so they can't let it slip, because we are, in my opinion, well, to be honest, I'd say I still think we're close. We got a better chance of winning the Champions League in the Premier League, just because I think Man City are an absolute joke. But I would love to be a fly on the wall just to see how they're preparing in this situation, because we haven't been in this where it's like, okay, we need to actually perform in the Champions League, and we're 3rd in the league and 2 points behind Liverpool, so we can't slip up in the league too. So it's definitely a huge test, and I don't want any complacency, because that is what could creep in. They could go, "What's Burnley?" If he does a massive rotation job, I'm going to be very, very, very concerned, because we don't usually rotate, so that will show complete complacency if we do that.
That's what happens when you say Burnley, Lucas. Dog goes skits. Get at him.
He still thinks it's the Sean Dyche effect. That's what it is, Dan.
I thought he had Sean Dyche locked up in corner.
He's barked at Liverpool and Burnley, so
that's completely fair enough. I can completely get on board with the first one.
So it's tricky to figure out which team he might be supporting here.
And we'll move on now from the Arsenal game. We'll move on to the Liverpool Burnley game. Dan, overall, how you saw that 90 minutes? 3-1, I suppose, considering how well Liverpool been playing, probably not too bad, and you kept them out for a little while. How did you see the game overall?
Yeah, luckily for me, I was working, so I didn't get to sit and put myself through it. But I managed to watch the first half, which probably was the better 45 by the looks of things. But yeah, we set up, like Lucas said, we set up really, really well. The way we played in that game, we had Liverpool on the back foot. Even the commentators kept going on about how poor Liverpool were. Burnley were taking the game to them. But again, it's all about burying your chances. I thought we'd struggle. The fact of playing a high line, Liverpool like to knock the ball over the top, Salah running into the channels, things like that. So you're almost thinking this is going to be a game where we're going to get absolutely annihilated. But we were just kept going from strength to strength. Obviously, sucker punch comes from a set piece as well, and you just. Again, going back to what Lucas said, when they're on form, Arsenal with set pieces, and it's coming to Burnley where you've got James Trafford who's flapping at every single cross of a corner. It could be a game just settled on. I think, in fact, the first game, I think Arsenal were playing for corners towards the latter stages of the game because they knew that's where Burnley were weak. So they kept playing out for them corners. So it worries me again that. But how do I look at it as a team down there at the bottom of the table? Do I think not bad? It was just a free hit, so to speak, or do I look at the fact that on the basis of the game we should have actually got something out of it? Fofana had a good handful of chances. Amdouni missed 2 1-on-1s. This is the problem we've got. If we find a bit of form and actually find our inner Haaland who can score with his eyes shut, and basically we find that in a player, then we should be fine. But at the moment, we haven't got that. And that's what's costing us points every single game week. So I'm not overly worried. I'm sort of, my body's 50-50 at the moment of if we go down, so be it. If we stay up, then I want us to stay up on merit, not on the points deductions and stuff like that. But let's see what happens. The game itself, the scoreline doesn't justify how well Burnley played. If anything, Liverpool need to put their ideas up if they want to find themselves in a title race.
Yeah, it was a funny one for them, wasn't it? Because I think after the Arsenal game, there was, and it's been a strange few weeks because obviously, the Jurgen Klopp went there and say, "Well, come to you, Lucas." I don't think we've spoken to you about Jurgen Klopp since. I don't think you've been on since Jurgen Klopp, so you missed Josh's 40-minute eulogy the other
meltdown.
week. It's been.
We had to end the show after Josh has said his bit. That was it.
We did.
That was the show.
We did indeed. Everyone was. Well, we'll say somber. We were all pretty happy. Let's be honest. Klopp's going. It's a good thing for everybody who's not a Liverpool fan. But it's been a strange one, and off the back of the Arsenal game as well, and particularly that Anfield at the minute. Anfield is 200% higher than it ever was now because they've got every game for Klopp, isn't it? Is literally that mentality. But where do you see, Lucas, with Liverpool now, having watched them against Arsenal the week before, this whole Klopp business, does that strengthen their title bid, or do you think it's the added pressure that they could do without?
No, I think it definitely strengthens it. I think they've kept pace while Salah's been out, and he's coming back in 2 weeks. I think he'll miss this weekend, and I reckon he might be on the bench the following, or at the very least he'll be back before the end of the month, I think, from what it sounds like. So they kept pace. They slipped up against us. Well, they made a mistake. Van Dijk let us in there, but that was looking like they were going to steal it at some point. So yeah, Liverpool look like they're up for it, and they want to go all the way to the end with this. So, and they've got favourable fixtures that they're playing City at home, which they've got a good record against Man City at Anfield. They've already played us twice, and I think they've got United away, but I think they're gonna turn you over, to be honest. So I'm looking at their fixtures remaining, and I'm like, who's gonna stop Liverpool? Like, where are they? Where is the slip up gonna come? Could it be a Villa? But again, they've been so poor. Newcastle, no. There's no Chelsea. Like, outside of us three, you're looking at it like, who's actually gonna stop them in the game? And the firepower they've got up top, especially when Salah comes back. Now you're going to have Salah and Jota to deal with. It's I don't see how they drop points unless it's like a really rogue one. And then the added fact of Klopp's last season, they're not going to want to let him down. They want to go out with a bang. it's quite dangerous. It's a dangerous.
Liverpool love a slip up though, don't they? They love a good slip up.
They're find the somewhere for sure. I mean, they've got a very good run of games. I think we said last week. I mean, Burnley, Brentford, Luton, Nottingham Forest before the Man City game. It's never played on paper. There's always a danger. Brentford away, maybe Tony back. Brentford have proved to be a bit sticky last few weeks, but potentially. But okay, even though Luton, even though they've been playing better, if they play open again at Anfield, they're going to get crushed. And Forest away have been a bit of this. And then you look at the back end of the season. They've only lost twice all season at both in North London against Arsenal. Spurs. Exactly. One of them was very questionable. As you say, United at Old Trafford, the pressure will, be more on us because, again, it will be that stopping them from the title race kind of nonsense again. And then City's at home, so Anfield factor. The Villa game, they have got Tottenham 3 games from the end at home, who could be a sticky one. And Villa away a game from the end because Villa may either be in it or not in it.
Yeah, they may not need it for Champions League.
And if they're not in it, that might not be great either because Villa play very free-flowing. If the pressure's off, that could be a real difficult one. So
you think they might have got it sorted out by then? They've been shocking recently, so...
Yeah, there might be some time to pick that back up and Europe will have settled itself. So I say, you're only looking at match day 24, aren't we? So still got bloody well way to go. But it's certainly looking very exciting. You say Salah to come back's a big thing for them as well. I just come down on Burnley as well, and we'll move on to the relegation fight in a minute with obviously Sheffield United and Luton playing this week. But you mentioned it was about a goal scorer. Obviously, you've got Fofana who scored a couple coming in the other week. Is Teller still a massive miss? Because, I mean, obviously he was one last season, was your golden boy, and look at what he's doing for Leverkusen this season as well. Do you think, had you been able to snatch him in, that you'd feel a lot more comfortable?
Yeah. I think we did everything we could from our side for Nathan Teller. From what I've heard from, basically quite a reliable source. I don't think I could get any more reliable, really. But we did everything to sign Nathan Teller. Southampton told us a price. We said we'll pay it. They then got greedy and then said, we don't want to accept that. And they hired an intermediary to deal with the transfer instead of dealing with them. So then they started playing hardball. So we started playing the same in January when they wanted Manuel Benson. So we thought, two can play their game. So we went for it. But in Fofana, I think we've got someone who's very sort of similar to Nathan Teller. Not just the fact that they both wear number 23 shirt. They like to play on the shoulder of the last defender, always asking for the ball, whether it's over the top, in the channels. He looks like he could be our Nathan Teller mould sort of player. But hopefully the goals will come eventually and we'll reap the rewards. But like I say, players we had on loan doing really well. Taylor Harwood-Bellis at Southampton doing solid there. Ian Maatsen, after a success with Burnley, obviously is now at Borussia Dortmund. And then, like I say, Teller top, chilling out with Xabi Alonso. He seems to be doing something right.
He certainly does. He's having a great season over there. So it will be interesting. It is such a dogfight down there. Just got a few people in the chat. Chris, I really don't know what Villa have been doing of late. Yeah, we'll come on to Villa shortly, I'm sure. It's a game, obviously, I watched at the weekend. So, Heather, Jefferson Lerma, doing the business for Palace today. Spenny fan Chris, a game that we're not going to touch on too much, but a good win for Newcastle away at Forest. Forest, one of those, they've been struggling a bit recently, and they did massively need 3 points because Newcastle, when you look at their league position, just nowhere kind of where they are together, are they? And now that Europe's out for them as well, then you'd expect maybe they could come back in a little bit and fight because there's teams that are going to drop points around there. But the question I wanted to ask you guys that's come in from Aled in the chat is, do you think Liverpool would cash in on Salah in the summer? With Klopp going
Van Dijk
well,
said something the other day, which was interesting. I think if a bid comes in around the same amount, I think they do. I'll tell you why. I think with Klopp going, I think there's just too much of an element of keeping those kind of players kind of removes your rebuild. I don't know what the dog's doing at the moment.
He's not keen. He's not keen on the Salah sale.
He doesn't. Yeah, Neo says no to selling Salah. So, give the new manager some money. some investment to build. If it's going to be Alonso, I mean, have you seen that Leverkusen play? It's not anything like what Liverpool play. So you're gonna need players to fit that system. So it depends what they want to do. If they want to carry on with a similar style with Klopp, a high pressing team, not necessarily about possession, direct, then fair enough. I can see it. Maybe it's just a slower transition. But if you're going to get someone like Alonso and you're going to try and do move on to the next level and do something completely different, you need investment. And I think you also need new play, like someone new to rely on and build more of a team. And you got like Salah and Van Dijk in the same core. It's not really going to change too much. So 100 million, you get 2-3 players in that fit that mold, first teamers. Why not? And Liverpool fans will say we'll take the hit and we won't be able to get Champions League. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I think you've proven it right now without Mo Salah. Like Klopp has started to rebuild this team. Darwin Núñez, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai.
I was going to say they've revamped that midfield already. So as soon as it shouldn't be too much hassle to replace a player like Mo Salah.
Yeah. So I think it's the right time to do it and take that risk, because I said this even last season. I was like, I don't think Liverpool fall that far without Mo Salah in the team. He's amazing, and there's an argument to Neo, chill out. There's an argument to say he's one of the best, if not the best, Premier League right winger of all time. I think they'll be fine. I think they can continue to get Champions League without him. I generally think, because just look at the state of the league. Like, take Mo Salah out of the team, they're better than United, they're better than Chelsea, they're better than Newcastle, and they're better than Villa. So they're only really, the only question mark is Arsenal and City. Outside of that, they're still better than the remaining teams. So how bad do they think it's going to get with that current crop of players?
And how many teams have we seen in the Premier League have lost what have been seen as key player and have played a lot better because they've had to lace their boots up and realise, right, we can't just rely on
Hotspur,
on one man. Yeah, Kane leaves, everything starts going well for them. Grealish left Villa. Look at the animal Villa have started to become now. It's easily done. It's easily done.
I was going to say it's easy to say it when it's not. I get when people say it's easy to say when it's not your team. Like, but we've all lost Thierry Henry. Like, come on, Wayne Rooney. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Adi Akinbaye.
Valvegos.
Ashley Barnes.
What was that, Sam? Why are you swearing at me for?
You'd love Chris Wood right now, wouldn't you? Like, he's actually
the form he's in.
But I know it's easy to say, but I do think teams nowadays it's more of a team game. Like, modern football is based on systems now. It's not individual ability. Like, you have individuals who add to that, like a Salah, but the most important signing for your team these days is your manager and your coaching staff. Like, that's just how it is. The flair has been coached out of this generation of footballers. So there's a safety net in that if you lose arguably your best player, you're not going to take a hit as much as you would back in the day if you lost a Kaka like AC Milan or a Cristiano Ronaldo like with United and things like that. So why not give it a go? If he wants to go and he wants to cash in, then don't stand in his way. I don't think he'll want to go. That's the thing. But like players like VVD and things like that, if they want to leave and big money comes in, I think do it and give the new manager investment to build their team and or add to the pieces that they need, and then give it a go from the get off.
There becomes a point as well with these players that they're either going to leave because of age, or there is a time to get rid of them, and you can't. They're players you can't replace. As you said, the names you mentioned there, Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo. They're one of a generation. These kind of players. What you're going to get doesn't mean you can't find other qualities, but you're not going to find that player again. So you have to completely kind of reset and adjust and understand. And what better time to do it than if you are bringing in, say, it's a Xabi Alonso with how he wants to do it. Get that money in. Salah moves on. He moves on kind of with that Klopp era as well. And because I think Liverpool fans will recognise when they get to the end of this Klopp era at the end of the season that there's going to need to be patience. We United fans understood it when Fergie left. Didn't quite know what it meant at the time. It would still be a decade later, but you know that there's going to be turmoil, and they understood it before. They gave Klopp the time early doors. It took Klopp a number of years, and they're in a better place. Miles better place than when Klopp took it over. As you mentioned, Dan, the midfield's kind of sorted. You've got people like Trent Alexander-Arnold. They've got even this Conor Bradley coming through the other week. So there's young players still coming through that team. A strong midfield. Say Diaz, Núñez, and Gakpo and Jota. They're all pretty young as well, aren't they? I think they're all sub 25. So there's not a lot.
They sold Coutinho to get to that place.
exactly.
150 million, and long term it was better. So I think that was more risky back then than it was here, because look at the squad they had. Like, you take Salah, right? We're seeing the team without Salah right now, and they're doing what they do. Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly awful. So yeah, I mean, if you say they drop an element, we're talking about dropping 1 or 2 places in the Premier League max, considering the other teams. So
yeah, you're going to need a big jump to overhaul that Liverpool team, even without Salah, I think, from those coming up, which may happen. I mean, you look at the massive jump Tottenham made this season. Newcastle last season made a big jump. The big jump Villa. There's always going to be teams making the jump, and United new investment. Chelsea shambles, but Chelsea are shambles, and then they're not a shambles in the past. So we'll see what they can do. Heather jumps in and says, "Yeah, I think Neo wants to be the star of the show." Absolutely, the podcast.
He's gone quiet now. We've stopped talking about Liverpool.
I've picked him up and I'm holding him, so he's getting his attention. So
he's well happy now.
You can say hi.
Welcome to Shawnee in the chat. So, Rafa's nan's been in hospital. Sorry to hear about your nan, Sean. I know you mentioned as well the other day. I hope and everything's all right with your family. Alan says, yes, Spurs got rid of Kane and invested reasonably well, and Spurs got rid of Bale but didn't invest as well. So, yeah, I remember the Bale one. They went a bit crazy, didn't they, in the old transfer window on the old...
That's Soldado and those guys, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was, wasn't it? Soldado. Who's the guy they had up front, the big Dutchman as well, wasn't it? They bought...
Vincent Janssen.
That's the one, yeah. Kane 2.0, apparently. But...
Oh, it was so bad.
It was such a shocking time for them. But yeah, we'll move on quickly to a big game at the weekend at the bottom end of the table. Luton versus Sheffield United, and Sheffield United picking up their first away. I think it's their first away win of the season. Luton been on a bit of a run as well, so I think that was one everyone kind of had banked down as a Luton home win. Sheffield United got battered the week before 5-0 by Aston Villa. For you, Dan, is that a good thing? You need Luton pulled back in, and you're not really worried about Sheffield United?
Obviously now level on points, so it is quite worrying. That obviously, I know their goal difference is completely massive compared to ours. So the thing is, it's the points at the end of the day, isn't it? That's what worries me. I'd have happily rather have seen that game filter out a 0-0 or 1-1 or whatever. But just like I want every single game week, I never get what I want these days. Welcome to the Premier League. So, I mean, great result for Sheffield United. It'll be a massive confidence boost. I think a lot of Sheffield United fans, outside fans, are thinking, "Look, Wilder going back, really? Is that going to work?" But he seems to have sorted it out, like structurally,
pretty quick as well.
Yeah, the overhaul from Heckingbottom to Wilder's appointment has been, a really quick transition. But we all know Luton's a very tough place to go to, especially they've come up against some big teams. I think it was against Arsenal. You left it right to the last kick of the game to win it, didn't you? Like proper smash and grab.
Chelsea, they almost came back.
So it's they really do dig hard, Luton, but it was just one of them where they probably have rode the wave of luck and thought, oh, well, this one should be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
If anything, I remember the season we got relegated. I think we beat Everton at the Turf, and we had Norwich away at Carrow Road next. And we all thought, right, well, this should be over and done with. And we go and get beat 2-0. And you're thinking, you could see it in the way the players played. It was almost like, right, well, we've done the Everton game. We've got the points. That's it. We're staying up. It was almost like this result should take care of itself. And I think that's what Luton had a bit of naivety going into it. And it's cost them dearly. So if it drags them back in, brilliant, because it's another team to try and contend against. But I think at the moment you've just got to look at the team above you and the team below you and just do better than the two around you. Just get out of there.
Yeah, and Luton are now coming into so they've been on a fabulous run. I mean, they beat Newcastle, Sheffield United in the reverse. Bonkers, they scored 4 against Brighton, 4 against Newcastle in that 4 draw. I think Carlton Morris has been absolutely smashing it as well in for them. I think, scored or assisted in each of his past 4 Premier League games. He's been on fire. They've been opening up. They've got pace for days with Ogbena down the wing, and is it Doughty as well on the other side? There's threats, a lot of threats on that Luton side. I mean, we face them this weekend, and it's the sort of game that for us, I can just see us like thinking we're the big boys, having beaten Villa, taking the foot off the gas, and all the bloody egos come out again, and we don't put a shift in, and Luton turn us over, which really worries me can happen. But their next few games are starting to. So they've got United this weekend, Liverpool away the weekend after, then Villa at home the weekend after that. So it does start to pick up a bit tricky for
it's
Luton.
wrong game to mess up on. Quite disappointing.
The mentality's there though with Luton this year.
Yeah,
I think they've just got that. They're riding that promotion wave. I think we've seen it with a few teams: Blackpool, Huddersfield. Just go out there every week. Yeah, they sit there every match week. Referees got out. They're all in position, and they probably think, "Wow, like I'm playing in a Premier League match here."
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden
they want to be there.
Yeah. Every single player they've signed, like I say, I look at them and I see little bits of Burnley. They've signed experience, the likes of Andros Townsend, Ross Barkley, players like that have been in and around, not just small clubs, but decent established Premier League clubs. And even just their voice in a dressing room will be massive to those players, especially the one or two that have been with them from, League One.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, the fact they're even giving it a fight, I think, is just from what people outside the club perceived what was going to happen this season. I think
everybody written them off. Everybody written them off before the ball was kicked.
We're laughing at them,
Yeah. It was almost like, all right, so there's 19 teams in this division this season in Luton.
Yeah.
And now we're sat here thinking, shit, why did I say that? So, fair play to them, though. They deserve every accolade that comes their way. I'm not going to sit here and say as much as their ground's an absolute shithole. It's just, but whatever they do, they're clearly doing it well. It's the one thing I miss really from the Dash era is that mix of experience in there, but it's what it is. Beggars can't be choosers. We've had our day.
You never know. The day may come again, Dan. It's not over till it's over. It's not over till, say, the fat man sings.
And then I turn FIFA off and the alarm clock goes off. I know how it works.
And wakes up. I think, I've just seen equaliser for Chelsea. Conor Gallagher is on my phone. We can only hope there could be a VAR. You never know.
Former Palace loanee.
Yes, indeed. Chelsea have gone and levelled. Apparently there was a delay. Michael Oliver's mic packed up. It's probably best not to be talking to people in the background anyway, these referees, I think. I don't think it's any better than out there, is it, at the minute? So there we go. Simon says he is honestly wrote Luton off because he was jealous. Fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe, I say Coventry, maybe. They're in the fight. You might be up with us next season, Simon. You never know. So Luton is still fighting away, but a disappointing result for them. But I presume Luton, Lucas, even with the win for Sheffield United, not change your opinion that they're well and truly stuffed.
Yeah, they're finished. But Luton need to get it together because they're the people's choice now, aren't they? Down there? So
yeah,
we all want them to stay up. So fingers crossed. But yeah, Sheffield, I'm not convinced yet. I think they're done.
There's not enough, is there? There's not been enough all season. They've taken too many hammer-ins as well. I think I saw the 60 goals they've conceded in just 24 games. It's a record. They're the fastest people to hit 60 goals conceded in the Premier League. You just can't.
Five of them were against us, and we can't even put a ball back of the net. So that says something.
Yeah, that was 20% of your overall goals. Sheffield United. You've got to play them again, though. That's one I would look for potentially. Although Luton probably thought that, and look what happened.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There we go. You never know. Flying up the other end of the table, we better mention them because Kevin De Bruyne is back. Erling Haaland is back. All the players seem to be coming back. Manchester City is just starting to raise that juggernaut again, isn't it, Lucas?
It's just annoying because I feel like Pep does this on purpose because you watch the game and you were like, oh, if Everton just were a little bit better, they could steal this. Or, they could get a goal here. And you watch that first half and you're like, City was so bad. The crowd were like really quiet. Foden, like the camera position on Foden, he looked fuming going off because he was poor that first half. And then you're just like, we all know what's going to happen. Like, we all know how this story ends. Man City have a bad first half. Pep is going to light a firecracker in that dressing room. And as soon as they come back on, he makes 2 subs within at half time, I think, which he rarely does, to be honest. So he was angry because even when they have they've had games where they go in at half time and it's a draw or they're 1-0 down, and you're like, well, they're going to, and they end up winning 3-1 or 4-1. But this one, they were 0-0, and it was like he made 2 subs at halftime straight. He was like, no, this is a joke. De Bruyne and Walker straight on, and within like 10, 15 minutes, Haaland gets a goal. So there's just that inevitability of them, and it's starting to creep in now. We're starting to see it again fully. So yeah, Everton played a good game, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. They haven't got enough quality up top to really like take their chances and give it a go.
No, not against the City team, and it's baffling me a little bit at the minute. Everyone seems to watching people play against Kevin De Bruyne. It's like they've forgotten. They keep giving him space.
Yeah,
I know it's hard to do because way City pull you about. He had so much time for that. I was like, he's the one player in the world you don't give any time to on the ball.
They've all gotten so used to playing City without him now and dealing with the wingers, and then he just plucks right in, and you're like, shit, we forgot about this guy who can spring a 40-yard pass to feet, like just out of nowhere. How do you just consistently defend against that? You got Doku on the wing dribbling up against you. You got Foden now adding goals from midfield. Alvarez adding goals from midfield. Haaland, like it's just Rodri is another one who you can't give time and space outside the box.
No,
it's too much. It's too much, and they start to kick into gear now, and it just feels like it's written with KDB's return at the moment when they go on their usual run. So yeah.
It's just too many threats, as you say. And there's people like Jack Grealish we've barely seen yet this season, and he'll probably come on for the last few months of the season and have a massive tail because he'll be fresh and be destroying people. They can change the centre-backs. I mean, they changed 2 of the centre-backs that they're playing across the back line with Vardy out and put Akanji in. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. There's just so much coming through. And they're so much better, I think, than anybody else in the Champions League as well. So the only hope is that they've got too many games, but they did it last season and they managed to sort of destroy everybody on their way. So Josh is in the chat with us. He hates Haaland. He's too good. And Kevin De Bruyne is quite good as well. Yeah. I think that's pretty safe bet. Their next game's home to Chelsea, so that might be funny. Might be funny. We can hope for that. Brentford, Bournemouth, and then we've got to go there. So not looking forward to that. I said this last week when I was on. It's my birthday weekend. The last 5 birthdays have been City or Liverpool, and last season was the bloody 7-0 one. So I literally I hate it.
Unlucky.
Must be something about that weekend that they like to put it in there. So absolute disaster. And then away to Liverpool after that. So that is a huge one. And home to Arsenal, a couple of games after that. So City's big ones are probably going to be done. That back end, their last 4 games, Forest, Wolves, Fulham and West Ham.
I mean, what the hell? If they're like, I'm only man. If when they're in the title race, is Pep really going to drop points at that point in the season to those teams?
Not there. Not that we've seen before in the last 5-6 seasons.
Like, there's no way. So you've got to really do them by then.
It's got to be over.
You got to get ahead by then.
You've got to get into them at that point. Yeah, I've got to get into them at that point. So one more time before we go to the table. Of course, I had a victory this weekend. I've had 3 victories in the last week. I don't know what to do with myself. This is a very different plane of thought for me at the minute. I'll come to you guys on what your opinions are, and then I'll give mine. But Aston Villa 1, Manchester United 2. Dan, what do you make of that on Sunday?
Scott McTominay, super sub again, isn't he? He just seems to be cropping up with the goals every single time he comes off the bench. He's been outstanding this season, and a lot of people were writing him off when Ten Hag came in. So the fact he's laced up his boots, he's sort of been that main man in midfield now. What a player he's been. Obviously, big shout out to is it Højlund or something?
Højlund,
yeah. Obviously, he played really, really well as well. Took his goal very, very well. But again, you've come up against a side like Villa, who under Emery have been an absolute force. And you know, apart from Douglas Luiz's finish, other than that, that's all Villa had to do really in the game. United were absolutely took the game to them once they equalised, and I thought played the better of the two. But you know, he's at back-to-back victories now in the last 3. So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking very, very good, especially for the fan base that have been asking a lot of questions of Ten Hag and what happens at the end of the season.
It's been nice to see some positives. Like there's still things that aren't right. There's still stuff that I think when we come to City and that we're going to get exposed again in some of the same ways we've been exposed. But there's things like having Højlund score 5 and 5 for Højlund. That's been massive. You know, he was having massive pressure on him because he hadn't scored in the Premier League and everyone got on his back. And he's now getting the goals in. That's massive. Garnacho really sort of contributing that attacking three contributing is massive. Defensively, it's such a shame we're missing Martinez. It showed a little bit again at the weekend. He's so crucial, so crucial. Villa could have scored 3 or 4 on another day, to be honest. A lot of their strikes hit Onana straight on. Made a couple of good saves as well, but we still concede too many chances. But it's a win, and a win against Villa, and a win against a team away in the Premier League in the top 9, which we've never had under Ten Hag, which is just insane. Absolutely insane to even consider. But it's bonkers. I mean, Lucas, where do you make of where United are? And I want to get your views on United's young players that are coming through, in particular Højlund, Mainu, and Garnacho. Where you see them as a neutral, as a non-Man United fan?
Yeah, I mean, Aston Villa. Where do I start? Well, 2 words: Clement Longley. That pretty much describes what's going on with Aston Villa, because that guy is horrific at defending. And the fact that Emery, who's supposed to be a defensively sound manager, thought that he could bring this guy in after we all saw what he did at Spurs, and even before that, we all saw him at Barcelona. So we knew the guy is not a good defender, like good on the ball, but cannot defend to save his life. And he brought him in after the catastrophe at Spurs. And then obviously Pau Torres went down. You had to play him. And then when you're playing him in the back 4. So it literally coincides when he came into the team of when they started dropping points. So it's no surprise. It's a pretty bad managerial decision there from Unai, and I think he is going to regret that one, because the Champions League was in their grasp, and it looks like they're about to throw it away. But United look good. You're still shaky. You're still very shaky. Teams can get at you. You know, all those last weekend. Look at the Wolves one. Like, you got away with that. But you're getting it done, which is all you need to do. And you've done that under Ten Hag last season, so it's good. But Højlund starting to score now, starting to get into those positions, starting to play well. His finishing has been pretty elite, to be honest, and so he's looked very good. Good first touch, strikes the ball well as well. Rashford's dropped off a little bit in the last couple of games, but I think he's still adding something now. I don't really. I think Garnacho's quite effective, but I look at him in the same way as I think he can be like a Rashford. That's his kind of level. I don't think it's anything more than that. It's like he can be a very high impact player, but in terms of overall footballing ability, I think he doesn't have the decision making to be an elite footballer, I think. And people say he's young, but it's like those kind of things. Look at Kobbie Mainoo. He has decision making, and he's younger than Garnacho, isn't he? So it's like you look at it, and it's completely 2 different sides. Like Garnacho will get goals, he'll get assists, but Kobbie Mainoo isn't actually. That's a kid that could be an elite footballer, because you look at his intelligence on the ball, off the ball. And he was brilliant as he has been. I was saying to my United fans, I would honestly take him out of the team. I would take, once his run is comfortable and you're doing it right, I wouldn't start him every game. I think we get into this situation where these young players get started and then you become reliant on them. And I think you're going to put him in a tough situation. You got Rio on TV talking about he's the next, what was it, Clarence Seedorf.
Yeah, that's not helpful, is it?
It's just stupid. I hate when pundits do that. Like, just let the kid play. Let him
grow.
Let him play in peace. Yeah, let him grow. Stop doing these comparisons early. And you're an ex-legend. Like, why are you doing that? So those kind of things. And honestly, I think if a good manager, Ten Hag, he would take him out of the team while he's playing well. He would drop him one game and just say, "Look, he's played a lot of football. Give him a rest." I would really respect him if he did that. But it's also quite tricky. He's one of your better players at the moment on form, but he is a youngster, and you have to protect him. And I think playing him until he drops a stinker is not the way to do it, because he's very young, and there will be a game where he will, will have he'll make a mistake again. I think he had one of the games previously.
He had a couple
anyway.
Yeah.
But he's quality. I think the youngsters like Mainoo is quality. Like, it's clear to see. And Garnacho can, he can add impact and things like that for your team. But for me, Mainoo is a very high potential player. But you just got to keep this run up. You got to keep this run up, catch up on Villa, which I think you can. Your fixtures are actually relatively favourable, I think, up until the Liverpool.
Apart from the City one, yeah, it's not too bad.
Sorry, up until City. So, yeah, give it a go. I mean, I hope you don't, but you lot are starting to you're scoring goals now. Your front three is starting to score on a consistent basis, which, let's be honest, it was only just that's all everyone was kind of like waiting for, wasn't it? With United, it was like your front three has been awful, but it's starting to click. The chemistry's getting there. So yeah, and bloody Scott McTominay as well. Like, honestly, how many games has he won you now this season with like the goals?
I saw today 12 points. We've gained 12 points.
12 points
because every time McTominay scores late, because he scored twice against Brentford, and then every other one was a winner, and it's literally been. But he's using him in. I think I put it in one of the tweets today. He's Fellaini 2.0. He's how Van Gaal used Fellaini, because they're very similar in the way that he can't. The problem we've had with McTominay, the problem that Ten Hag has had with McTominay, is the playing out from the back on the half turn, that midfield role, is we lose so much and it causes us so many problems. He's also, I don't think, great at picking up runners. So when we've played him in that DM role, but Nottingham Forest the other week, just Morgan Gibbs-White just drifted off of him constantly. But when you're using him in that kind of almost centre forward role, and when he came through in the youth teams, he was actually playing more as kind of like an attacking mid centre forward. So he's got that in his locker. And that's how they're using him, as that impact sub, as that battering ram up front, stick it in the box. He's a big, strong guy, and he wins the ball quite often. And that's how they're using him. So he's really like a Fellaini 2.0. If you want him to hold your midfield, he's not the guy. And then
someone asked me the question at work, Sam, would you have Scott McTominay in the Burnley team? And I went, yeah. And another guy at work said, no. And I went, are you mad? And I said, how would you not have him? I said, the way he plays, like say you play him in that like sort of a cam role.
Yeah, and you play him you play a 4-4-2, so you could have him kind of dropping off and kind of playing with another striker off of backup, which is kind of what we've been doing with Højlund later on as well. You could make that work. You just can't have him holding the midfield, and that comes back, I think, to the point you were making.
Should have just stopped there, Sam. We're just at the moment he's winning your games. We can't have him. Simple as.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that? 8 goals this year?
7 goals in the Premier League. He's our top goal scorer, which is says a lot about the strikers as much as anything. But a positive for McTominay. But we've had to be playing him in defensive midfield because there's a lack of options in terms of the qualities that we've got. That's why Mainoo's come in, and he provides something that the other midfielders don't. You know, like we've had Casemiro out injured, and when you've got Casemiro, you need legs around him. Well, Amrabat ain't the bloody answer to that, because Amrabat's about as slow, if not slower, as that bloody Casemiro is. You've not got a solid back four that sat behind it either. So you then bring someone like McTominay in, you can't play on the half turn like you want to. So that's why Mainoo had to play, because there is no qualities and attributes. But I think he dropped in one or 2 games, and maybe now some of the midfield come back. Maybe when Mason Mount comes back, you see him try to do something different, and he can then give Mainoo a game or 2 off. And it depends how the league's going. If we fall out of it doesn't really matter. You know, if we fall out of this race, if we'd have lost to Villa at the weekend, we'd have been 11 points behind. And I think I said last week, if we don't beat Villa, it's not even a possibility. Now it's a possibility, but there's a lot of gaps. And I still don't trust this United side not to go and stink up a couple of games. The track record's not there to see them go 10, 15 games and win 10, 11 of them, even that. And that might not be enough, depending on what the other teams do. So it was a good win. I thought Villa, we got away with it a little bit. They got good positions. Their final ball was poor. Jacob Ramsey, is it? No, Aaron Ramsey. Which I can't remember which bloody Ramsey they've got now.
Jacob, we've got Aaron.
You've got Aaron. It was his first game back as a start, I think, and he looked a little bit rusty. Emery made a couple of weird ones. I mean, Bailey was killing us. We took Luke Shaw off another injury at half time and put Lindelof on at left back. And I thought, oh, good God, now we're in trouble. And Bailey was ripping him to shreds.
Just signed a new deal today as well, I think, Leon Bailey.
He's been doing really well for him, and he was
been great this season.
Yeah. He was causing us a lot of problems, and Watkins didn't quite have his shooting boots on either. So I say good positives, still things that are not right, but it's not going to change overnight like that. So we've just got to put ourselves in a fight, in a more positive position, that when we get to the summer, hopefully these big decisions will be made and we can start to step forward, because we're facing another season where this time we're looking at a title race between City, Liverpool and Arsenal, which is a shocking prospect to consider. So yeah, I'm just happy that there's some young players coming through that I'm excited about. I like, and that if we can we can start to make more of those steps and start to make better decisions in the transfer market, start to set stuff off, maybe we're on the right kind of foot. But I thought that last season, and didn't go anywhere from that. So it was a win. It's 2-1 win. No one really, people have been struggling to beat Villa. Villa had a fantastic home record, apart from, I think they lost 3 in a week almost now, though. Newcastle, Chelsea and United have all gone to Villa Park and won. So that's kind of dropping off a little bit from Villa's perspective. So not great for them. I've just realised I haven't uploaded the slides yet, so I was going to stick the table up, but I'm going to have to find it first. So do bear with me. Any other games you guys want to talk about while I'm having a little search on my computer?
I mean, the Newcastle game, obviously, against Forest was
lucky.
Very lucky. I can't believe how far Newcastle have dropped off. I mean, I came off that Burnley-Fulham game with a point thinking, oh, this ain't going to be too bad because, Luton will have had their arse handed to them by Newcastle. And then I'm walking out of the concourse and it's just Newcastle 4, Luton 4. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously, how do you throw how well you started the season to where you are now? Like you say, you look there, 7th in the table. They have just, again, I'll tell you what they've done this year. They've done a Brighton. Started really well and then just dropped off.
They have indeed. They really have indeed. So I've just stuck the table up there so we can now see the full table of results. But we're a bit behind on the chat, so let's catch up with that. Josh thinks the Docky is a Villa fan and doesn't like that Villa slander. That's what he was kicking off about. Mr. Luke will read everybody a bit late. You've made it, Mr. Luke. That is the main things. Again, Lucas's dog isn't approving. They're all picking up on the vibes. I think they're all knowing Neo's thoughts on all of this. Welcome to Dave Mack in the chat. All right, guys, thank you for joining us as well. And actually, Josh says, it's not just me forgetting. That's very true. But you've forgotten your Bundesliga notes because I don't have them in my emails, Mr. Josh. So I'm going to be have to make it. I will make that up in a minute. Don't you worry. But we'll touch through the rest of that. Any games we haven't picked up out of there, we'll just mention there. Fulham winning over Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth have dropped off a little bit too. Fulham picking up. They've had a couple of sort of rough results, but they did enough a little while back, I think, to hope that they're safe. And Solanke's been on crazy scoring form, but Fulham have started scoring goals again, haven't they? They've put a couple of results together.
Fulham needed that result. Fulham needed that result after chucking the 2 goals away against us at Turf. To be fair, they weren't really involved in that game. For me, obviously they went 2-0 up. It was just simple ball over the top, scored from a corner. But other than that, they had to have a bounce back result, and what better way to do it on home soil against a Bournemouth side that you don't know whether you're going to get a good result from Bournemouth or a bad result each game week with them.
Mm-hmm. This is it. It's a good win and a much needed win there. So where's that put them at the minute? They're just behind. Oh, they'd love to finish above Chelsea, wouldn't they? That would be fantastic if Fulham could finish above Chelsea. That would be huge for them. Another result that we didn't pick up on as well. Tottenham scored in the last seconds of the game again. They've done that at least 3 times as well this season. And Son's back as well. Son and Maddison back now. Lucas, are they? I mean, points wise, they're a shot off. Can you see there's any way that they sneak their way in?
Yeah, definitely. With Maddison and Son back, 100%. Everyone's forgetting how good they were with both of those guys in the team. So, yeah, Spurs can definitely get their way into that. If we slip up, they could capitalize. It's just 5 points. So, yeah, we'll see how they are. But they got lucky with it against Brighton, but Son's probably going to start the next game, so they'll be full strength, won't they? With Son and Maddison. So first time since like October, I think.
Yeah,
full strength. So and Richarlison scoring goals now as well. So yeah, Tottenham are a problem. They've quietly gone about their business and kept pace. And yeah, they're picking up form at the right time as well, or at least picking up wins at the right time. So you can't slip up with them there.
No, you can't. They've gone unbeaten in their last 5 with Son not there. They've only lost 1 out of their last 9 as well, winning 6 of those. So they have been still putting the points together. Yeah. Wolves at home next week. And then I think Kulusevski played quite well at the weekend as well. So again, there's just so much options they've got. They've got Sarr back as well, haven't they, in midfield? So he's been critical for them too. a lot of good qualities for Spurs, which will make them tricky. In the chat, Heather says, yeah, Bournemouth need to win that, but Newcastle and City next.
Oh boy.
Not easy. It's never easy. There's always runs like that in the Premier League, isn't there? Looking ahead at the fixtures, which are a bit shoddy. And Spenny Fan Chris said Brentford with a good result, 2-0 away at Wolves.
Wouldn't have predicted that.
No, that was a bit of a surprise. Wolves have been playing really well as well recently. Good win over Chelsea. Everyone's beating Chelsea. We always say it's a good win over Chelsea, and then you're like, well, everyone's doing it actually. So it's not really anything special, I suppose. And I think Hwang's back now as well, although Cunha went off at the weekend with an injury for Wolves. So
Hwang's back, but he wasn't in the squad. But I think he's got a little bit of a knock, or is it match? It might be match fitness, but yeah.
So that'll be a miss for them. But a good win for Brentford, and Tony's in amongst the goals since he's come back as well, isn't he? So that's an interesting one from an England perspective, how he's going to be come the end of the season. So there is the table. It is very, very, very tight at the top. Let's get rid of the little button at the top so we can see exactly what's going on. So Liverpool, City and Arsenal, 2 points and 1 goal in terms of goal difference. So it's about as close and as exciting as you can get this season. But Manchester City, as you can see there, are all in green in their wins and their form. So it's begun, I think it's fair to say. And then if we look down here at the bottom of the table, if I can see rightly, is that Forest 21, Luton 20, Everton 19, Burnley 13, is it? 13?
You didn't need to mention it, Sam, but yeah, that's right.
Just checking. Didn't want you to miss out, Dan. So it's still up for grabs. Well, particularly when you must be. I say you want to go up properly. You want to stay up properly, as you said. You don't want any of these. But Everton and Forest deductions, with Forest's to come as their first, looks like, and Everton potentially a second. You're probably going to have a lot of eyes on that, I would imagine, whether you want to or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've got to look at it from. Like I said, I would rather us do it on merit than someone say, yeah, you're only in this division because, other teams messed up with FFP. But then, like I've said it before, look at Villa and the situation against Sheffield United with that goal that wasn't given. Villa should have gone down instead of Sheffield United. And now Villa have become some sort of powerhouse. I'm not saying that if we stay up on the technicality, we're going to be the next team in claret and blue to do it. I definitely don't think that at all. But if it's another season in the Prem, brilliant. In terms of obviously revenue and the money from your position finish. But other than that, I preferred the Championship anyway. No VAR, no messing about, old school football, get it done.
You get 8 more games as well, it's more bang for your buck, isn't it?
In fact, I saw somebody say something on Twitter the other day saying that the teams like your Burnley, Sheffield United and stuff, that in the Championship, they're all, people said they're the Billy Big Bollocks of the Championship. They give it all this, oh yeah, look at us, a bit like Borat, King of the Castle, I have a cheer. But then all of a sudden, they get to the Premier League and they are the Rotherham of the Premiership. It's just like an absolute dross. So yeah, it's been a long season. So much change.
I feel like Rotherham are bottom of the table every year in the Championship, but still in the Championship every year. Does anyone else feel like that?
It does. Yeah, it does. I think Wigan are very similar as well. They're
always bottom, but they're always in the. They never get relegated.
Yeah, it's weird. It'll be obviously the same way. Everton in the Premier League. Everton seem to be a Premier League stalwart. If they go down, about time, and then I can rib my stepdad as well because he's a blue. But yeah, I call him Burnley B now to wind him up.
Burnley B, double win for you in that situation. Going across to the chat before we leave the Premier League and go around the wonders that are Europe. So Alan says, looking at Newcastle at the moment, you could get a draw against them depending if you're away or at home. Yeah, they're struggling a bit, a few injuries. Isak's out as well, isn't he, as well at the minute? That's a huge loss for them. Josh, I have a Bundesliga review in my DMs apparently, so I'm going to see what Josh has slid into my DMs. I'll check them first before I put them up. You never know. We'll be safe. Kieran says Everton are staying up no matter what, up the toffee, shall we say. Heather believes they're away at Newcastle. Probably get a point as Eddie can't bring himself to beat Bournemouth. There's just too much love. He'll tank it to get them at least a point. Mr. Luke, if you want no VAR, get yourself down to the lower leagues, proper football. And Kieran, the EFL is so much better than the Premier League anyway. Well, this is why we cover it all, you see, because we're flavours for everybody. If you like lower league, then of course there's the Thursday show as well, and there is the Wednesday show for WSL as well. Come and join us for everything. It's all great.
That's why I'm milking it now, Sam, because I know soon I'll get relegated to Thursday, so don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't say that. If I tell Claire and Shah and Ant that you get relegated to their show, they'll be coming for me. So no, we all share about. We all share about. There's no. It's like American sport here. There's no promotions and relegations. It's just whoever wants to appear, wherever they want to appear. Simon says, I hope Burnley stay up because when they're in the Championship, they were so full of themselves on Twitter. there you go. And Josh is very impressed with the Borat impression for you there, Dan. And 1-1 still in the Crystal Palace versus Chelsea game to see if there's a winner. So we're going to fly around Europe because there's some massive games in European football this weekend, starting with La Liga, and we had the top two. The top two came up against each other. Girona, of course, have been flying so far this season, but well and truly got put to the sword by Real Madrid at the weekend. I don't know if you saw any of the goals, but Vinicius and Bellingham were on absolute.
It's a joke.
Unbelievable. The first Vinicius goal and then the ball to Bellingham was insane.
I think they just had to. They just had to like. It was they took Girona's lunch money. It was like, how dare you?
Who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah, they said, how dare you in our league? We own this league. How dare you try and do a success story, an underdog story in this league? So we're going to show you whose league this really is, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, Jan Couto, bloody hell, he is going to have sleepless nights after that. He had a shocker. So yeah. We'll see how Girona bounce back, but I think that kind of confirms it. Madrid have won the league. It's annoying. Loads of these leagues, we'll get to it, but loads of these leagues are done now. They're done.
Yeah. And that was so, and we've seen it before. A team that's kind of been fighting up. We saw a bit with Union Berlin last season, didn't we, in Bundesliga? As soon as they got done by Bayern, that was it. They then went on a 3 or 4 run. So how they come back will be interesting. Spinny Fan Chris says Ala Madrid. He says it was on ITV4. It was on ITV4. Yeah, it was. There we go. Decided to, and a big game they did. Mr. Luke thinks that they might chop off. Josh says, did Bellingham get injured? Don't you dare. There's a Euros in the summer, and all we care about is that man being fit. That man must be fit. They need anything.
Yeah, he must. He must play next to Jordan Henderson in the Euros.
He must. Christ. If Jordan Henderson's playing, we definitely bloody need Jude Bellingham, I'm telling you. So Real Madrid, absolutely on fire. I mean, Vinicius and Bellingham are just leagues ahead of anybody else in that league for me as well, to be honest. Those two are just absolutely insane. So fantastic 4-0 win to them. Madrid are now well and truly at the summit. Barcelona. So we had the announcement that Xavi was stepping back, which you can read as you will. Last week, they seemed to recover a little bit, and then this week back to their shocking defensive mess again. 3-3 with Granada, down in 19th. Shocking goals, defensively all over the place. Just not good at all, I think. And then Xavi came out with some crazy statements like, well, that's why I did it, so that everyone would kind of feel like the release is like, if that tells you that your manager needs to come out to say that he's leaving to try and sort of relieve everything, just tells you what a mess. What a mess. And the best bit I heard from the weekend was that it's Laporte, isn't it? Their president, apparently. So fuming he was in the executive boxes, launched a plate across the room in frustration. But because it was a posh box, obviously, a plate of canapes. He threw a plate of canapes across which is proper for each football. You wouldn't get this in the lower league, would you?
€80 gone.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get that at Ebbsfleet, do you? You know, that's a proper chucking the canapes across the floor. So Barcelona dropping points. We've got in 4th place Atletico Madrid. They went down as well this weekend. They had a disappointing result, losing to Sevilla, who really did need that victory because Sevilla have been again sliding towards the danger zone. So it was a very big win for Sevilla, 1-0 against Atletico Madrid. Goal from Romero for Sevilla. Elsewhere, you had Getafe beat Celta Vigo 3-2. Mallorca beat Rayo Vallecano 2-1. we've had tonight. Athletic Bilbao had the opportunity to catch Atletico Madrid, but they drew with Almeria. Almeria still awaiting their first win at the summit, bottom of the table, but they held Athletic Bilbao tonight, so no jumping up for Bilbao. And then elsewhere, Valencia went down to Las Palmas, but they've had a bit more of a resurgence recently, Valencia, so they're more in a sort of stable, safe position. But I think it looks like Real Madrid are well and truly fit on their way. So happy days. Simon says if Henderson gets picked for the England Euro squad, so we might as well not bother going. Just stay away from that. Stay away from that. The rest of us are all starting to talk about Bellingham and Rice and Mainu and Foden, and look at what we could do there. But Gareth's over watching bloody Jordan Henderson in Ajax, so we'll see what happens. Thinks it's only an ankle injury, he's out for the next few games. And look, the Welsh contingent are well and truly in midfield of Henderson, Milner, and Dyer. You could do worse than Milner doing some bits in there, but Jordan Henderson and Dyer not having it.
No.
Not a chance. And Mr. Luke says, good achievement for Girona if they get Champions League football, though. Yeah, it would be. But they've got to make sure that the wheels stay on now and don't completely come off. But if they get in the Champions League next season, they're stuffed because City are buying half their players anyway. They've already purchased Savio on a pre-deal.
Yeah. And I think Jan Couto is actually on loan. Couto is a City player, from City, yeah.
So it's gonna be decimated City in it if they get there through. So we shall see, but Real Madrid looking well and truly sorted. Serie A, Lucas, you want to take it? And there's also been a shock result in Serie A tonight. I don't know if you've seen that one with Juventus tonight.
That's the league title done. Told you there's loads of leagues. But I mean, the way Inter were playing, it was never really in doubt. Although Juve were keeping pace, but you can't drop points. Inter are absolutely insane at the moment. They're an outside chance for the Champions League for sure. Inter Milan. I think they've got a tricky draw though. Can't remember who they've got. I think their one is relative. It's not Atletico. It's not Lazio. Got Munich. It might be Atletico actually. Yeah, I think it's Atletico Madrid.
Atletico first leg next Tuesday.
I think that's the best fixture of the next round. So yeah, that's gonna be a tricky one. But yeah, Inter Milan are just Roma. Yeah, Roma. That's what you get for sacking Mourinho. How dare you? How dare you? I mean, they didn't exactly move that much further up the table since they've sacked him. So it was a weird one, that one, but it is what it is. Inter Milan beating them at home, scoring 4 past them. Roma were leading 2-1 at one point as well. Atlanta actually keeping pace and they've turned the corner and are some decent form at the moment too. Lazio falling off a little bit, but I think Lazio are another one which could give Bayern Munich trouble in the Champions League just based on how they play. But they're not really. Them and Napoli are struggling this year. Napoli have been the biggest fall from grace this season. They're just not the same team whatsoever. And obviously, without Osman in that team because they're the AFCON, it's been even worse for them. AC Milan not been great this year, but somehow still managing to keep up there. They're getting wins. They're starting to pick up a bit of form, but they're just not very good this season. So I think it's kind of done. I think honestly, Inter Milan have really cemented themselves as a top side under Inzaghi over the last few years, and it looks like. I hate to say it, but we could be looking at another one of these Serie A runs where one team just racks up 4 or 5 years in a row with Inter. I mean, Juve are probably in and around, but their team they're on a bit of a rebuild. They've got a load of young players coming through. It's not quite there yet. Inter are pretty set. And it looks like they're going to wrap this up.
Smashing, and they off the back of the Champions League final to pick up what looks like it's going to be a Scudetto as well. And however well they do this season, it's they are through. Bologna in 5th, a surprise. Bologna in 5th.
Yeah, Thiago Motta doing the job.
He was a Football Manager legend, wasn't he, Thiago? He was on a free transfer for about 4 seasons.
Bloody Kolasinac. But no, he's doing the job. He's another one which is he's an outside chance for the Liverpool job, Motta. He's been linked because of, stylistically, plus also the way that he's been managing, and he's experienced too. He's been managing for a few years now. So, doing all right.
They weren't just a spelling mistake. not just a spelling mistake in Liverpool, and they meant get Graham Potter instead.
Yeah. Could well be. You never know. Talking of pronunciation, someone's there with Charles not here today, so Lecce is Lecce, not Lecky tonight, unfortunately. But the Shah merchandise, we said get it trending on Twitter, and then Josh said he will look into it. The Lecky t-shirts could be a possibility. Spenny Van Chris getting Udinese with that excellent win tonight.
Shock result, yeah.
AC Milan with a big 3 points over Napoli. Mr. Luke, Napoli are inconsistent based on their 5 games. They're not think they're capable for European football. Well, funny enough, they've got Barcelona, haven't they? Which is like the tale of two.
That's going to be
the Wales teams.
Unpredictable one. Yeah, exactly. Hard to call. Well, the Napoli have looked better in the Champions League than Barcelona in their group with Madrid. They gave Madrid a good game as well. So I don't know. That's hard to call that one.
It might suit them. And Charles arrived just in time, so it was her favourite game of the weekend this weekend with Spag Bowl playing Lecky, and her 2 favourite teams battling off against each other. And Spag Bowl well and truly saw off Boiler FC with Lecky. Yeah, not happening.
Spag Bowl's always the winner.
Spag Bowl is always the winner, particularly in Italy. Get a proper one over there. So we'll move away from Italy, move over to Bundesliga. So I better go to my DMs and see what I've got in here for sure. So the big one this weekend, the huge one, the one that everyone had been waiting for to say how serious is this Leverkusen claim to the title, and very serious, I think, is the response to that. They did. The 2 top teams locked horns match day 21 with Leverkusen playing host to Bayern Munich. Xabi Alonso's team came out on top with their 3-0 win, moving them 5 points clear. It was actually Bayern a loanee of Bayern, Josip Stanisic, who opened the scoring before Grimaldo made it 2-0, and Jeremy Frimpong then scored an empty net late on to complete a stunning win for them. I mean, that is huge, because it's normally the ones, and I think there was some noises coming out the Bayern Munich camp as well, and went, here we go, we're going to stamp this. And I mean, they haven't. I mean, it's interesting listening to things about Bayern Munich, because I'm hearing a lot of people talk about them for the Champions League and all of this, and yeah, Kane's got this phenomenal scoring record, but they had, like last season, they pit Dortmund at the death. This isn't a Bayern team that stormed the Bundesliga last few years, and it seemed to be, some of the reports I saw at the weekend is that Tuchel got it tactically very wrong against Alonso at the weekend, and had to change things up at half time because they just weren't even in the game, and he made some strange selection decisions. So it looks like Leverkusen are still yet to lose. What do you think, Lucas, on this? Because we had a chat with Josh about it the other week. I would worry a little bit that people are going to constantly be on Xabi Alonso's back about Liverpool over the next 3-4 months, and distract them, and he needs to get this Bundesliga under the belts for Leverkusen.
He's got to keep up. I mean, the football is insane. Leverkusen, they're playing such good football at the moment, and Bayern just like Tuchel is just all over the shop. What's this terrible decision to sack Nagelsmann to bring in Thomas Tuchel? Honestly, it's like just really bad ownership there. I think Leverkusen can do it, but this is 11 in a row, so it's you can't write off Bayern Munich until the last day. But I think Leverkusen look more suitable winner than Dortmund did last season, if we're being real, just overall. And also, they've beating Bayern Munich 3-0 is a pretty statement win. Dortmund didn't do that last season, so I think they can do it. I think they can do it. You won't get good odds, but I think they can do it, because also Bayern they're not great. I don't think they're going to do anything in the Champions League. Like I said, I can see Lazio beating them over 2 legs, but let Harry Kane go to Bundesliga and end the season trophyless. Honestly,
could you imagine?
Someone put a post out the other day saying that Harry Kane will, in 2 to 3 years' time, still won anything with Bayern Munich, so decides to sign for Celtic or Rangers in the SPL. It'll be the season Motherwell win the league.
It
will be first time in 30 years.
How can you go to Bayern Munich 11 in a row and go trophyless? I'm sorry, that is just ridiculous. I'd leave him on the bench at the Euros.
He won an Audi Cup. Let's not forget that. That man
I would generally leave him on the
discounts
bench.
on Audis for life.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's still having to pay bedroom tax because his trophy cabinet's empty.
We don't need losers in our team going to the Euros, and you, my friend, going to Bayern Munich and not winning a trophy. No, we cannot have this man leading our team out of the Euros. I'm sorry. I refuse.
It would be shocking. And so particularly as well, he's got Kingsley Coman in that team, who's won a title every season he's been there, apart from the one time he plays with Harry Kane.
I mean,
Not only
Eric Dyer. Like,
Eric Dyer played centre back
with that high line.
Defense. What's just
crazy decisions? Yeah.
That's just absolutely insane.
Tuchel's
Chat's got
it.
a lot to say about it here. So we've got spinning fan. Leverkusen, yes. Mr. Luke says Bayern Munich are crumbling here. Alid, wherever Kane goes. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes Josh's favourite manager after Klopp winning again. Xabi Alonso. Shah, you can take the Kane out of Spurs, but you can't take the Spurs out of Harry Kane. He's jinxing them. Simon doesn't get the Tuchel appointment by Bayern. And Alan says, Bayern never losing. Very good, very good. So far, it's all going very well for Leverkusen. So it looks like that's going to be, that's one of the areas, that's somewhere we've got a title race in Europe. Everywhere else is pretty much sewn up, but the Bundesliga is definitely one to keep an eye on, because you never write Bayern off until it's completely done, that is for sure. But as I think I saw Mr. Luke mentioned here in the chat, Borussia Dortmund are on some form at the minute. They are on form at the minute. They've had a bit of a run put together. Cruised to a 3-0 victory over SC Freiburg, with Daniel Malen scoring a brace in the first half before Nicholas Füllkrug sealed the 3 points for the Black and Yellows, putting them 3 points clear of RB Leipzig, as Leipzig were held 2-2 by FC Augsburg, with goals from Lewis Openda and football manager legend Benjamin Sesko as well. Just not enough for Leipzig, as they missed a penalty from the former late on, which proved to be very, very costly. So very interesting. Dortmund starting to pick up a bit of form as well. Stuttgart are still doing all right there as well. They're keeping themselves in there. I don't know what Stuttgart's result was. Yeah, here we go. 3-1 win over Mainz. Goals from Maximilian Mittelstadt, Jamie Lewing and Dennis Undav. Good old Dennis Undav gave their side a relatively comfortable win for them. What do we have elsewhere in there? We've got Frankfurt drew with Bochum, and we've got 0-0 Mönchengladbach, Darmstadt. That doesn't deserve talking about. Draw between Hoffenheim and Cologne, and I think that's about it. So Mainz have dropped into the relegation zone. Leipzig on the cusps of Champions League, but Stuttgart still going strong. Are you surprised, Lucas, no one came in for Guirassy in January with that release? They managed to hold on to him.
Question marks.
Yeah.
There might be something we don't know.
Something we don't know. And there's some awful news coming in from the chat. Awful news.
Bloody hell, Palace. One job. Just tell me it was Cole Palmer.
If it's Cole Palmer, I'll accept it.
It was Conor Gallagher again.
Palmer assist, though.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was as well. It was a Palmer assist. Okay. We'll accept it for now. We don't do this every week, Chelsea. We'll accept it for now. Accept it for now. Just back, say, on the Bundesliga, spinning fan Chris Saarbrücken, of course, Saarbrücken knocked Bayern Munich out of the German Cup as well, which was insane. And Alan says that Stuttgart have got Munich at home soon. So that's another toughie for Bayern to have to go and travel to as well. So that is the Bundesliga. We'll take a quick scan around elsewhere, because I haven't really looked too much detail at these other leagues. It's just really to see what's going on. PSV is still dominating. They destroyed Volendam 5-1. Still haven't lost a game. Still 10 points clear of Feyenoord. They beat Sparta Rotterdam, so they kind of maintain their pace. Ajax lost for the first time in a long time, but if you consider where they were when we started the season, by about Christmas, they were all in trouble. They're now on the cusp of getting into European places, so much better for them. Not really a lot else to say from that division. Moving across to Liga 1, it's still Paris Saint-Germain. It's always Paris Saint-Germain. They're well clear. France is done, wrapped up, forget about it, all over. Nice and Monaco currently in the Champions League position. Outside, we need to start taking PSG off the top of this like we did last season, because the rest of it looks pretty tight. 39, 38, 37, 35. There's a title race coming on for second. Paris Saint-Germain ruining it for everybody. Metz have dropped into the relegation zone with a draw against Marseille, and Lorient got a win, so they jump up a little bit, with Clermont still at the bottom. And in the Premiership, Scottish Premiership, lots to cover here, massive lots to cover. Dundee 2, St Johnstone 1, and I think I saw something on BBC Sports on the day. Their striker was in a horrific incident, and that's
Michael Mellon, on loan from us, actually, been sent up there, one of 3 players, and I think Dundee have actually put in a a complaint to the SPL about how the game wasn't stopped, which for a head injury should have been at the first port of call anyway. But it were a real nasty collision from what I've seen. And yeah, I think Dundee have a very good shout for having some sort of repercussion done about this.
It sounds as if they've not stopped the game, that is not great at all. So it sounds like it's going to be trouble. Chelsea have scored again. Enzo Fernandez, I think, by the sound of it. Yeah. Let's pick one up. So it's just Cole Palmer with another assist, though. 2 Cole Palmer injury time assists.
Okay,
saved everyone's FPL. So we'll take that for sure. And Josh, as you guys weren't here, you won't know what this means. Say the name Woolly Willy, one of the Dutch teams. I think he means Argosy Warwick became Woolly Willy last week. And Lawrence Shanklin, because we love him on this podcast. We absolutely love Lawrence Shanklin. Even though he didn't play, he will still get a shout out because he deserves it. And that's it. I think we've reached the end of the podcast. We've got through everything. We've covered a lot of games. We've covered the whole of Europe. It's been lovely to chat to you guys. I've had a fantastic Monday evening. And if people want to chat more with you guys and where they can find you, where can they find you, Sir Dan?
Everywhere. Like I tell people, I'm like shit in a field. Wherever you look, I'm there. And everywhere but OnlyFans, as I like to say. Everywhere but OnlyFans. But yeah, just search at Turf Morehouse, as it says just under there. And yeah, massive Burnley fan, but love to speak football with anybody. Yeah, just check me out on there. Thank you for having me again, Sam. Appreciate it.
You're always welcome. Well part of the team now, so it's great having Dan on all the time. And of course, Lucas, I mean, Neo might be shitting in the field, but how about yourself? Where can people find you?
So that's why he's giving me shit, because he's like, take me outside right now or else. Just below the name Crab Dribble on Twitch and on TikTok. Definitely give me a follow on TikTok. I'm trying to get to 10K before the end of the year, so 8.5 to go, but got to aim high, so that's the one. But yeah, I'll be streaming 3-4 times a week on Twitch, most of the part, and posting daily on TikTok.
Magic stuff. Do go and follow Lucas over there as well. And I am at the FM Ducks. I am on Twitter. I do some TikToks now and again. I don't have the aspirations Lucas has. I just now and again go on there to try and keep some stuff going amongst the podcast channels as well. So if you want to catch me, I am up the FM Ducks on there. I think I'm on Instagram as well, doing some bits now and again. And then we also have the all important podcast socials with the new superb graphic. Look at all of those lovely pictures of the team. Dan's is coming. It's just taking time because to sculpt perfection out of stone takes
it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work.
It's en route, I think, but fantastic work from Josh's way he puts these together. These are superb. So as soon as Dan's is in there, it will be added as well. But you can catch the Absolute Football Podcast, of course, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We are at Absolute Ball Pod on Twitter. We are Absolute Football Podcast on YouTube and Twitch. On TikTok at Absolute Football Pod, on Instagram and Threads maybe Absolute Football Podcast _ and on Facebook the Absolute Football Podcast. Monday is the Premier League. Wednesdays is WSL and Women's Championship, and this week Women's FA Cup. And on Thursday it is the lower league with the Royal Rabble, as we've started to call them, on a Thursday. Double game week as well, so Shah has got a lot of graphics to prep for that one. I think 96 games or something horrendous with a double game week. So fair play to that one. So do follow the socials. And of course, thank you to everybody in the chat. It's fantastic to do this with you. You are absolutely amazing, all of you. Josh says, cracking show team. Thank you, boss. Thank you, Josh. Chris, take care, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Shah, great show, guys. Thank you. Have a nice one, everyone. Chris is off to tomorrow night away to Chorley. There you go. I'm sure there'll be no plates of hors d'oeuvres thrown across the room at Chorley.
I don't know. Chorley are in talks to be bought out by Boyzone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from what I've read, Boyzone are interested in buying Chorley out. From what I've heard, it's only words.
It's only words. And they'll enjoy it no matter what, Dan. No matter what, they'll enjoy it.
No matter what. I love it.
Superb end to the show. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Aled. And thank you to everybody. We hope you're all very well. Have a fantastic week, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care and bye-bye.